Hey, doing some work on the truck, and we, after our test run, found out that we had a little bit more play in the front end than I wanted. Uh, the U-joints on the pitman arm were pretty much shot, so they're still holding, but I can move things around. So I called up my friends, and they got me some supplies. Here we are here. So we've got a brand new pitman arm, which goes in right there. So we'll get this one in, and or that one out and the new one in, and we'll see how much that improves. We just got a little bit too much play when we're driving along, and then we'll see what else we might have to replace. When it wasn't moving, a lot seemed tight, but now that we've actually driven it down the road and shaken things loose, literally, so we're making some improvements to that. Tonight we've got Mitch from Ditch It or Not. He's doing a little bit of welding back there, and I'm trying to fix up some stuff for personal vehicle. So busy little shop tonight, but I'll try to get this together, and I won't bore you with it because basically it's just some threaded rods and shove them together. But I'll show you it back together hopefully, and we'll go from there. Well, here we go. That's the new one together. The only problem is the old one does not want to come out of there. When I'm undoing this, the whole center's turning on me. That's kind of a sign that they're shot too. So yeah, that's when I spin this, finally found the right size, and it's just turning everything. So probably gonna just sawzall them off, or get them off up here, however I can get them off, and then pop them out. I've got the device for popping those out, the tool. So yeah, we got the grease nipples installed, so we can hopefully keep it running longer, and hopefully this gets rid of some of our slap and slop we got in the steering. I'll show it once it's in. Here we go, the new pitman arm is now in, and it's taken a lot of play out of the steering. So we're going to get it for a little test run around the block and see how much difference that makes to our steering. Another repair done, and another step closer to getting this thing out and crawling. Now I wish I had to tape some of this for you, but unfortunately I didn't, and also positioning is very hard. This is the power steering box here. As you can see, even in this I'm getting shadows, but if you can see that little bolt down there, right there, this guy, it actually has an Allen key in the top of it. In my case you couldn't tell, it had to really get cleaned out, but then it's threaded, and then it goes into a nut. So you break this nut loose, like the whole, they suggest you're supposed to hold this and loosen this. I wasn't able to, it just was not moving, so I just loosened the whole thing. Then you hold this and back the nut off somewhat, then you start cranking this clockwise, and it starts tightening everything up. Then once you get it to the right point, you tighten this back down and lock everything back in place. We had a ton of play in this steering. When you turned the steering wheel, it moved a good probably 1.5 inches from the top, and in here it moved quite a bit, and now there's like nothing. That's actually trying to move the pitman arm right away. So it definitely made a huge difference to the way it rides and drives, and now you're not feeling like you're wobbling all over the place when you're going down the road. Well, we're on to the next step of the steering. We got the pitman arm fixed up, and it did make a big improvement, but further investigation, the rest of our tie rods are shot. and it looks like our damper shock probably is pretty much pooched as well. So show you here. Okay, there's our one tie rod. Actually is that long, comes all the way over to here. There's a sleeve and a second tie rod, and then we have the shock here, that the damper stabilizer, whatever the heck it's called. Anyways, basically it's just designed so that when you hit a rock, it doesn't take the steering wheel right out of your hands. Along with the actual shocks in here that are shot, I've got to replace them too eventually. But yeah, a piece at a time. We're slowly getting this all rebuilt. So I had taken these bolts out, tried to adjust that. It did not move at all. It seized completely. And then in playing with that, I realized that the tie rods are completely shot. So we decided that we're just going to replace it. And here's all the new parts. We've got the brand new tie rod. Like I say, that's one long ass tie rod. The other end, coupler, and the new steering stabilizer. So we're going to put all those in and get it so it's a lot tighter up in the front end. The other thing we're going to do, I don't know if you can see that well, the original here has the hole over here for this side and the adjuster over there. We're going to actually flip it over because eventually I want to put the Y steering in, and I believe that all I need, if I flip this over, all I'll need is the piece that actually runs from this, will run down to the other side and then back. So I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to put it together that way, hoping I don't have to take it all apart later. Hopefully. So anyways, that's what we're up to, and I'll video what I can. We're trying to get another camera so I can get some better angles and get some better footage for you guys to be able to see what happens. That way a little less missed media. Instead of just saying, hey, I did this, I can actually show you it happening. Hopefully it helps people out some too if they want to do it themselves. And you can see these are quite rusted. So trying to put a wrench on them, they didn't move. So we're going to try this little device here and see if we have any success. We had to use it on the pitman arm and it did work, so hopefully it works on this one as well. I just got to get this, there we go, in and down, and then we just slowly tighten it up. I mean, you could try to use an impact on it, it'd probably be a little faster, but it's one of those things that I find it's slow and steady seems to be a bit better for it than super fast. What this does is splits the nut eventually, and then we can just unscrew it from the bolt. And we can see here how it split the bolt, or the nut I mean. So it just gets it to crack enough, releases your pressure, and you can get it off. So we've got the new tie rods put together here. I'm just going to try to get it up and in. Everything's lined up here. Get that up and in. I put the hole at this end. This is for your stock steering damper, but I believe I can also use it to do my multiple link steering later. Not 100% sure, but I'm going to throw it on this end because we are going with the aftermarket shocks and we're not using the stock holes. We have the parts that clamp onto it. So I'm going to put it this way for now, and if I got to change things up later, I'll deal with it later. But for now, we're going with it this way, and let's start reassembling. The shock I got was a stock one. It's the shop's got me a new one today to put in. Ours takes dual, so I'm putting that one in to start with, and I'm ordering another little heavy duty one to put in as a secondary and just beef it up. It'll help once we actually start beating this thing on some rocks. For now, let's get the parts we got in. That's nice. I can't twist it anymore. That's good. These will be done on the upside, not the downside, because I don't want them hanging down to get bashed around. I'll try to put them on the upper side. Alright, there we go. You tie rod in. Just got to put my pins in here. And then, as I say, getting the shock that goes in here, goes between there, and we put the other mount back on here. That's the original mount from the stock. It would be, this is the original. It would have gone back to that hole here. I would have had to move this out of the way. As I say, I want to go, this allows for dual. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to put the one on the top. Later on I'll put the one on the bottom, providing it clears that without having to cut it. If I have to cut it, I'll see about modifying that later. We'll see. But anyways, that's in. Doesn't twist and turn like it did before. That should definitely tighten things up. Once we get the stabilizer on there, then we'll have it a whole lot more secured and hopefully in the right places to do what we got to do with it. He's a little bit better than the stock one we had there. We've got all the parts here to put it together. Now this one came as a kit. It actually came with its own seats and everything, but I'm not using them. I'm going to use the originals here, just for the simple fact that I want to turn around and put the second bigger shock in up here. This stabilizer is a good one, but I'm going to put another not rough country, but I'm going to put another big one in here as well. This original bracket's designed for 2, so we're going to utilize the 2 and get it in. I just got to make sure this clears this. If it does, we're laughing. I got to snug this up a little bit so that it sits on here a bit. Lucky we'll get the other one in up here like that. I can't use this one because I had to cut the bolts to get it off. But it looks like they're both going to clear our brackets. I'll see once that swings in. I know the top one already did, so hopefully the bottom one does, and we'll be good to go. Yeah, that one's still doing something, but not. That bottom one is 10 times stiffer, that's for sure. So there's these funny little parts. Now this one was literally a kit. It came with more of these, a couple more adjusters, one of these. I'm just going to keep them in the truck later, just as backups. You know, you never know when you might break something, might need it, might even be able to use it in a different way. Who knows, right? You never know. That's one thing I've always been one for keeping stuff like that around, keeping the spare parts, because you never know if you may or may not need them. Okay, that's a little too tight. Still haven't got everything adjusted. Okay, that was loose. Okay, that's where she's supposed to be. Okay, I got one more pin to finish putting in, and that's it. Set her down and take her for a test spin.